Are you ready? I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Tubi.
Oh yeah. You know what I decided?
Tubi and Booby.
When I'm on Patreon, so on Patreon there's a tier where you can get your song reacted to, and once it clears on their end, then I say send me the link, and so I've started calling it Listy. Alright, it's added to Listy.
Really?
Since there's an E on everything.
Good lord.
What's the matter? What are you looking for?
I'm looking for my my pills. Where'd they go?
Your vitamins?
Yeah.
Fish oil?
No. Didn't I bring that thing in here?
I didn't see it.
Nobody
Oh,
cares.
right there.
Oh.
Listen
okay.
to you! Wow!
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares is what he's saying. I set this whole thing up for him with all his vitamins on each day, but nobody cares for him. Poor Vinny.
What today? Thursday?
Yep. You know, you push it.
Really?
You push, and it pops right open.
Oh, look at that.
It's for the elderly.
This reminds me of growing up.
Oh
Okay.
no, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are doing Metallica.
Metallica!
I don't know why there's two names on this.
What
And
do
are
you
you
mean?
getting a cold? Or some coronavirus?
No.
Quebec
I'm
Magnetic and the Judas Kiss. I don't know why those both
Quebec
are on
Magnetic is probably like a live. They're probably in Quebec.
there. Oh,
And
okay.
they did a song. The whole record's called Death Magnetic or something like that.
Okay.
So.
Hey, oh wait, speaking of Patreon, if you guys go on Patreon, even if you're not a patron, I put a couple of things public on there. So there's some things you can see. One of them is there's like some video where like 10 YouTuber reactions are put together, and we made the cut on that. And also,
yeah. We're
we got
famous!
yeah! Also, we got into November's Doom, the band was talking, and we were part of their discussion. So that's also there if you want to check those out. So anyway, yeah, so here we are. If you are interested in political stuff, you want to say it?
You're supposed to say for time and topical
I
political
know, but
commentary,
I
you can
feel
hit
like
us up at
saying the
Middle
exact
America
same
with Vin
thing all
and
the time
Sori.
kind of makes people go, "Brr."
So you can check us out at Middle America with Vin and Sori. There is a Middle America portal you can go to if you want to discuss the videos further.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook.com/America Middle.
We're trying to step up a little bit and do more fireside because seems like a lot of people are worried and nervous during this time. So hit the notification, whatever thing that you have to do. I'm sure all the other YouTube channels are telling you what to do. So do what they're telling you to do for our channel, and then it'll hopefully give you the notification. Also, if you're on our Facebook page or one of our patrons, it's going to give you a message to say, hey, we're going live. And then you're able to...
Facebook.com/Vin and Sori.
People are sad every time they miss them.
Yeah, Facebook.com/Vin and Sori.
So-
Once we fire up a fireside, we usually
Post the link there.
post the link there. So we've been stepping up the frequency of firesides just to hang out. A lot of people are in quarantine, things of that nature.
Yeah.
I want to make sure everybody's taken care of, and if hanging out with us helps and hanging out with fellow
your
villagers
mind off
helps,
it.
then great. Shout out to Kazakualina. Appreciate the email very, very much. Beautiful email from a beautiful person, obviously. This, however, is Metallica, Quebec Magnetic, the
Yes.
Judas Kiss. Let's go.
Okay, ready?
Fire up the lyrics here.
And go.
Oh, it's live.
you pray. Pacify your demons, bow down. Surrender unto me. Submit infectiously. Sanctify your demons into a place you don't exist. Cannot resist the Judas Kiss. infectious thing. Sanctify your demons into a place you don't exist. Cannot resist the Judas Kiss. Judas. Judas.
Judas!
When I saw them come up, I remember we were watching that thing on Metallica, and the drummer came up and put his finger on James' guitar.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so many of you wish you could be doing this. He's like, I could just walk up and do it.
That was touching. Yeah, that was Lars.
Yeah.
That's the guy's name is Lars.
Lars.
And you were like, is he in the band? I'm like, that's the drummer! The legendary drummer. We were watching some little mini documentary on it.
Yeah, but when they're not moving around under the lights, they're
Metallica.
different. Well,
Is it just me, or are these songs becoming more and more relevant to our current situation?
Yikes.
Submit infectiously, infection.
I mean, I didn't take it like that at all. To me, it just sounded like it was like the devil.
Well, yeah, but, there's a lot of ways you can look at the devil. Like, is the government the devil? Is people the devil?
No, the devil is in everything, is what I thought it said by the end of the song.
Oh, well, yeah,
Go to
I
the
think
end.
he said something like that, like see yourself or something like that. He said a lot here. At the end, he says, see yourself in me or whatever, something like that. Where did it go? There it is right there.
Find a piece of me in all.
Yeah.
Inside you all.
Right.
So.
Well, the song is called Judas, so I wouldn't think it would be the devil. I thought it would be like there's a piece of Judas in everybody. I thought that was the idea.
Okay, yeah. To me, it was like
Because the song is called
sanctify your demons.
Judas Kiss.
Yeah, I just thought the reason that Judas had a Judas kiss is because he had a bit of the devil in him. So everybody has a bit of the devil. There's a bit of the devil
Judas
everywhere.
was evil before the devil, though. He was.
Well,
he
I
was-
know that,
It
but
says he would help himself to the money
no,
bag. That's what John said. He would help himself.
help himself. That's such a nice way of saying he was a freaking thief.
He's a thief. Yeah, John. He's all soft
He's
hearted.
like, well, he would help himself.
He would help himself to the money bag.
Oh, that's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. So what? You thought it was talking about like the devil? The devil?
Like, not necessarily, I don't know that they actually believe in the devil, but the concept of it, you know how there's the whole good versus evil, and like that whole idea, like the devil is just like evil, it's deception, it's corruption, it can be anything, so it's, so I thought it was like all that stuff, just everything that's like just everything that we could all like point to and say that's bad.
I wrote a song with the term Judas Kiss in the song.
You did?
Remember? I truly live
Oh,
this. How
yeah.
could you dismiss this? Baptism waters and Judas kisses. There's blood in the chalice like there's blood in the palace. Can
Yeah.
you cease with the beef and be done with the malice?
I
No.
think that your lyrics were better than these.
Yeah, there it is. John 12:6. Judas would help himself. He carried the money bag and he would help himself from it. It's right there.
It's so funny because I remember that time when you
And
were
Judas
like,
said this not because he was concerned about the poor, but because he was a thief. Just stealing ass.
when you were like, who is that? Because I had these little videos. So Vin and I weren't always married. We used to be friends a ways back. And
I was never your friend.
such a liar. Anyway, so Vin came over and I had these little videos on for Selah, and they were like all the Bible stories and stuff. And one of them was like with Judas, and he was like this sinister looking creature that looked all like evil and stuff. And he was like, "What? Which creature is that?" And you were like, "Is that Judas?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's Judas. I mean, Judas was a bad guy." You're like, "Yeah, but you think he was going around looking all evil and stuff?" You were like, "They trusted him with their money. All of them did." So he would have looked like this really, really nice guy, like the last guy, the one that you would say, "Okay, out of all 12 of us,
Yeah.
who do we trust the most?" And he's gonna be the guy that's gonna hold the money. That was Judas.
Right.
So Judas wasn't like this.
Right.
This.
Right, this scowly evil guy with
That looked like
with-
the devil right off the bat, you know?
yeah, like that's the guy we should
Right.
have holding the money
Right.
bag.
I still remember who you said. It would be like.
Who?
You said
Who? Female?
yes.
Oh.
You said they'd all give their money to her.
Right.
because She looks all nice
Right.
and stuff.
And it turned out she's evil as hell.
Yeah, but we didn't know that at the time.
I did.
You did not say wallahi.
That woman, she looks
You
evil as hell.
know. You did not.
All white and stuff.
White and stuff. I'm white and stuff.
Well, I mean, you guys are generally.
What
What do you say? It's disagreeable to live with in peace. Yeah. Well, yeah. So, yeah, Judas Kiss is sort of like the, you know, the ultimate betrayal from a friend, you know, like you, or somebody that you're supposed to trust.
Mm-hmm.
So, when the world has turned its back, when the days have turned pitch black, when the fear abducts your tongue, when the fire is dead and gone, where do you go? When you think it's all said and done, when you are the ostracized, selfish-ridden, dead goodbyes, twisting of the tourniquet, when the pieces never fit. You know,
Keep going.
he
so,
has.
so what do I do now?
He has evolved
Sell
as a
your
very.
soul to me.
He has evolved as a very, very good writer.
Yeah.
Like over time, he's become much, much better as a lyricist, I think.
You can tell that better than me because in my mind I don't line the songs up and I can't see all that. It's a bit complex for me. Bow down, sell your soul to me. What do they always say?
I'll set you free, you sell your soul to
I
the
sold
devil.
my soul to the devil. Like, people always use that phrase, sold your soul to the devil.
Yeah, it's,
I will set you free, pacify your demons.
The text says that Satan entered into Judas, right? When
Well,
he's-
yeah, it does,
And
yeah.
Jesus said, you know, go and do what you do quickly or whatever. And
Yep.
then he ate the little bread thingamajiggy and says Satan entered into him. That's pretty crazy because Judas is the only person in the New Testament where it actually says Satan. It usually says a demon this, a demon that.
I know.
He's the only one where, like, the devil is like, nah, like, I'm taking this one, fellas. So that's pretty spooky. Yeah, well...
Do you think that's because it would have taken a lot for Judas to do that? Like, just by himself?
Yeah, Judas
To go in there? I mean, there's like so many times where you're like, I should stop this.
Yeah, well, it kind of looks like the minute that the betrayal happened, like Satan left him and he was back to his normal self.
I have always
Which
felt...
is why he hung himself at the end.
I've always felt like it was kind of like that. Like, you know the feeling that you get before you're going to do something you shouldn't do, and there's like all that like energy, and you're like, you know, and then you go and you like do it, but then after the thing is done, if you're a person with a conscience, you're like as soon as it's done, it's like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I always, like, ever since I was a little kid, I always felt like that the devil was like trying to trick me, and then if I fell into it, like the second that I would like fall into it, then he'd be like, ah! You know what I mean? Like, first he's on my, like, kind of on my side tricking me, and then he like turns on me. That was like always like
Your biggest fear? Or one of your biggest
No, it wasn't my biggest fear. I always felt like I had a leg up on it because I knew he was gonna laugh at me after. So I like.
So you'd never fall for his
So I
trick.
didn't fall for it as often because I'm like, no, I bet he's behind this. And we used to have this little song that we would sing because I grew up in this very strict Christian home. We're gonna beat up the devil black and blue, and the Holy Ghost is gonna make something out of you. I can't remember what the word was. Holy Ghost is gonna make. I don't know.
We're gonna beat up the devil black
Yeah,
and blue.
we'd go walk around the house. I'm gonna beat up the devil black and blue, and the Holy Ghost is gonna make a chicken out of you. Make a chicken out of the devil.
Okay.
And I remember singing it and being like, yeah, I really felt like it was badass. But I was little. I was like 4. Stop!
If you look at our current, you know, a lot of my, hyper-capitalist libertarian friends, it's very, very interesting because right now, because of this coronavirus situation, you have, you know, anti-vaxxers. It's like really testing how much of that do you really want to stay consistent.
Yeah.
And so, like, nobody can go out and work. So are you sure the government shouldn't provide people with money? Like, why don't you pull yourself up from your bootstraps?
Right.
Are you sure you want your libertarian little world? Are you sure, if you're an anti-vaxxer, you know, like, are you sure you don't want your kids vaccinated if we come up with a COVID virus? You know, and what I'm saying is I'm looking at it from the other side, where if you wanted to get really conspiratorial, you would say, aha! Because now you've got all these people relying on the state and looking for the state to rescue them.
Yep.
So now it's like,
Yep.
you know, you're selling your soul, submit infectiously, yada, yada, yada. You know, you've got this giant, and you know, I haven't commented about like my personal feeling. I don't think I've even really sat down with you and explained my personal feelings about what's going on. But if I was a conspiracy person, if you're one of these like, you know, these people, these hyper-libertarian, hyper-capitalist,
thinking that the government is behind it,
you would say this situation has made it so that people are more amenable to submitting to the government, depending on the government. You know, listening to the government. The government tells you like, hey, you know, all restaurants and bars are shut down. Like there's the whole thing about churches is a big thing.
Yep.
You know, like there's people trying to turn it into some, you know, persecution narrative. That, now they're trying to tell us not to gather in churches yet. Yeah. It's like, no,
that's not what's happening.
They shut down nightclubs. They shut down.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, if you looked at it from that side,
well, it does. I was just seeing something. You might have posted it. I'm not sure about the whole. There was a guy that was in the hospital. He had COVID-19. He dismissed himself from the hospital and went home, but he wasn't quarantining himself. So now the cops are standing guard outside of his house to make sure he doesn't go infect his neighbors.
Correct.
You know, and a lot of people are like, "Good, keep that inside his house." You know what I'm saying? But then, like, that's like, whoa, like,
it's like, wait, right? And there's a real interesting line, and I don't think any of us knows where the line actually is, because
I agree. I was like, yes, good, and then I'm like, ugh, not good. I was like, kind of like torn.
Yeah, and this is one of the holes in ideologies that unfortunately the real world kind of exposes, like this radical individualism stuff, where, you know, that's always been the big thing with certain political, you know, groups, is like, I'm an individual, yada yada yada. So I could see them. If you look at these lyrics, bow down, surrender to me, submit infectiously, sanctify your demons, basically, because if you're a libertarian, like you automatically, like, it seems to me like the libertarians and the anarchists are kind of like Cain and Abel type brothers, you know, they kind of have the same idea, which is basically they have no trust in the government.
Yeah.
And so both of those groups many times demonize the government, but now here you are. And like, it was funny because Ilhan Omar yesterday said that Trump did something incredible.
What did he,
you know, less than a year ago, she was calling him, "You're the most horrible." Well, the way he's handling COVID-19 and the bailouts he's giving, like, instead of the bailouts that, you know, went to Wall Street and all the rest of it, they're looking at like $1.4 trillion to bail us out. He's put a you know, a temporary freeze on evictions and foreclosures.
I just don't know how that helps the homeowners, the people that own those apartment buildings. Like, my parents owned apartment buildings. They took out a loan to have an apartment building, and their loan was due. So is their loan also on hold as well?
Well, I'm assuming there's some government kickback that's going to happen if
it would have to be
for all that. But my point is, Ilhan is saying, hey, he's doing incredible with it. So it's like, you know, Trump has been demonized by certain groups. Like, he's been deified by some groups, for sure, but there's other groups where he's been completely demonized, and now she's coming around yesterday. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was looking at my Twitter, I was like, okay. And she said, but he's doing a great job as far as making sure that the little guy's getting some of this pie. When the 2008 crash, it was all Wall Street, and we had 5.3 million people lose their houses.
Right.
So, say what you want. But then it turns into this thing where all of a sudden, you know, people who are mortal enemies are warming up to this guy. Then you got Jimmy Dore saying that Trump is to the left of Nancy Pelosi, which in this particular situation he is. Trump is like, we need to give everybody $1,000. Nancy Pelosi said, how are you going to pay for it? Which is like the opposite of how.
Right.
Like, what world? So it's like, I can see if I was, and I'm not one of these people, but I can sympathize with the idea of a conspiracy person who trusts nothing, that says all of a sudden the guy that's demonized is now doing incredible. All of a sudden these Americans who care so much about their personal freedom are now being told to curfew and do all this, and churches are not meeting and things like that, and you know, religious people could blow that way out of the water. I've got this guy that I'm following who I'm like, yes, keep it up, because he's like, you guys are idiots. Like, you know, like, it's about taking care of people, like, temporarily.
Right.
Like, meeting at your building once a week is not what Christianity is about. And obviously, we're both Christians. We agree. But I could just see how this song could be like a complete, hey, the government orchestrated this. They're trying to, you know, and now people are submitting, and it doesn't even mean that you would think that COVID-19 isn't a thing. But if you're like a hardcore libertarian capitalist, you're going to say, I would rather die than live in a society where the government's doing all this and all this trust is put into the government. They've got the authority to tell me when to shop, what place to go to, how many people to be around, yada, yada, yada. And the rest of us are like, bro,
yeah,
like, this is a temporary situation.
Right.
But
I think sometimes people feel like, is it temporary though?
Right.
Or is this the start of something? Because there are times when, like, I'm thinking particularly about what happened with the Jews, like, you know, where they had to walk around with a star on their jacket, and like it was just for, like, at first they made it seem like, well, this is just for, I can't remember what the reason was.
That was out and out anti-Semitism.
No, there was something with all of that where they weren't making it dead on clear that it was a bad thing.
Well, no, I disagree with you. That was always clear that it was a bad thing.
What did they say?
Well, it was about marking who your enemies were, because Hitler had so successfully.
But I remember reading stories from those people, and when they first started wearing the star, it wasn't as clear as what it became.
People didn't take it as seriously because nobody had seen a systemic massacre of people like that before. But it was never a good thing, ever. And there's no comparison here between. And the reason I'm like kind of going hard on it is because there's all these crazy comparisons to Nazi Germany. Some of the, and I believe that those are valid in the sense that I don't believe that human beings have evolved morally to where we would never do something like that again.
Oh, no, I know.
And obviously, when we talk about different subjects, it's clear that we're doing worse in some areas, societally speaking, in the Western world. I'm just saying that what's happening here is not what happened in Nazi Germany. Like, the situations are completely different. You know, in Nazi Germany, you had one group of people that was blamed for the entire destruction of the German way of life and German civilization because of the Treaty of Versailles and what happened after World War I and all the rest of it. And Hitler had been able to successfully harness all of that angst and put it on the Jewish people, and then, you know, he had a unifying rallying cry. What's happening here is that there's a legitimate global pandemic. All the experts in the field are saying this is a pandemic. These are things that need to happen. And if you look at China,
what's a pandemic? What's the difference between a pandemic and?
Well, the prefix pan means like everything, like a pantheist, gods and everywhere. That type of thing.
Okay, because I want to know the difference between that and an epidemic.
Well, an epidemic is actually more severe as in fatalities go, but a pandemic is like it's all over the place. So which is every medical expert has told us that's where we're at with this coronavirus. Like, it's a real thing. And so, like, you can't say, like, you would have to say that the entire world is in on this conspiracy thing. And the crazy thing is, when you have, like, a statist government like China, and we saw videos of these dudes rolling up on people and yanking them out of their homes to quarantine them and all that. Like,
I know.
China
scary looking.
Yeah, it's absolutely scary looking. However, they're doing much better than Italy with this coronavirus stuff.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, that's a situation where when the state steps in and says, no, I don't care about your opinion, I don't care about any of that, you're going to the facility, and no, we're not going to give you the opportunity. You don't get to, there's not a debate. You're going to quarantine. Period. Well, you know, Italy doesn't function that way, and America doesn't function that way. Can you imagine what would happen in America if you got a video of government agents rolling up and snatching people out of their homes?
They were dragging him out. It was really.
Oh, yeah?
It was very alarming.
Yeah, it was alarming.
I kept feeling like that can't be happening now. I thought I was looking at some old video something China did.
Yeah, it looked crazy, but right now China is doing okay. You know, it was on CNN. Like they recently they have no new cases of corona, and you know they're opening up stuff and all the rest of it. So it's one of those things where it's like. That if you're like a hardcore statist, you'd say, see, that's what you need to do. But then the other guys on the other side are going to say, see, this is all part of it to make you accept that, and isn't dying a better situation than having the government control? Because to your point, I was listening to Tim Pool last night. He was saying, well, he said, well, okay, so we give them this type of power. When are they gonna give it back? And is that what we've seen in human history, where the government gets all that type of power? Do they ever give it back? And then, you know, if you think about after 9/11, you had the Patriot Act, which was completely, I mean, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but there seemed to be elements of the Patriot Act that were unconstitutional, but because everybody was so afraid,
they were willing to accept it.
Right. And it took, and then, you know, you had Snowden and all the rest of these guys had to expose how deeply these people were violating our constitutional rights, even into the Obama era. You know, so you had Patriot Act was drafted during the first term of the early first term of the Bush administration, and then it had metastasized into something really like Orwellian by the time it got to the, you know, to the second half of the Obama era. You know, which is about 16 years between.
That's a pretty big gap.
That's a pretty massive gap. So it's like, you know, it's like, okay, you give up these freedom and these rights, and you allow the government to kind of tell you what to do, and and everybody's like, this is a temporary situation because based on, you know, the current, you know, we're in a special case, but so it goes back and forth. So anyway, I just think that there's a lot of you know, like ramifications to this song as far as what's going on here, because you know the government is inevitably going to betray the people. I mean,
yeah,
that's just a fact of history. Whatever your explanation for it, we as Christians obviously have an explanation for it, but there's a reason that. And you know what's interesting is like talking to like some of my European friends, like Peter, for example. Peter is like, if you don't trust your government, like why wouldn't you trust your government? You know, and it's like, as an American, I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean?
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that was kind of, I don't know, like a little bit of a culture shock, because Peter's more like, yeah, I mean, the government says it, let's do it. Yeah. And it's like, for the
Peter's from?
He's in Europe. He's Danish, I think. I forgot where he's, Austria. Speaking of Hitler. Austria. So, you know, he's more like, yeah, I mean, you should trust your government. You don't trust your government. And he's like offended that Americans don't trust their government. And as an American, we're like, what? What do you...
Yeah.
How could you trust your government?
Right.
So it's a very, very interesting situation that we're in. It's a very interesting situation. You know, for me, if the government said, look, we don't want you guys on, you know, out on the streets past, you know, 9, 10 o'clock, that's going to help. You know,
I don't see how that helps, but okay.
Well, it's all part of the social distancing stuff or whatever. You know, I would be like, yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever. You know, like until we figure this out. But at the same time, you know, if that's still in place, you know, 9 months from now, I'm like, wait a second.
What?
You know what I mean? Like, because I don't trust you. You know, like again, like that line, sanctify your demons. Like. I don't trust these people. And I've seen so much compromise between Bernie and then you got Tulsi, who just compromised today. And
that surprised me so much.
You know, so it's like all these people like constantly betray you. Like,
yep.
I felt betrayed by Bernie for the last, you know, 2 or 3 years when he jumped on this whole impeachment nonsense. Like I was like, Bernie, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it you know, obviously played into the hands of the powers that be, obviously, because now look at him.
Yep.
You know, he played the party line, and then they Judas kissed him out of here. See ya. Right? and then you know, Tulsi, you know, I was like, all right, well, I can't vote for Biden. Definitely not gonna vote for Trump. I'll vote for Tulsi. Oh, she just endorsed Biden. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna vote for Alec. You know, Alec could bring his eugenic dystopian future into
Oh my
fruition.
God, I think we'd be safer with Peter.
We'd be safer with Peter. Yeah, we'd get conquered by another country in about 14 days if Peter was the president.
You're too nice.
He's too. Yeah, the only Peter has reserved his entire mean streak for me. Like that's it. That's all of his mean streak is just for me. But yeah, really good song, very timely. What do you give it?
Okay, so for me, it was a little bit repetitive. I thought that the topic was interesting, and I like seeing them live.
I think I think a lot of people are going to be messaging us saying, "Why did you listen? You need to listen to the studio version first."
Yeah, probably. But this was requested by Chris, so
Right, Chris did the partner tier, which you can do as well. It's $125. But if you have done the $75 reviews 3 times in a row, or 3 times period, you get it at the $75 tier, which is what he did. So
no, that's not.
whenever somebody does that, they provide the link, and we go
Right, and we do whatever they want.
whatever they suggest. So,
Yeah.
so that's why we didn't listen to the live. But I mean, I get pretty much the sound and in the studio version how it would have sounded, and I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, to me it just seemed it was like a little bit repetitive. Like
It wasn't like the heaviest. Like it wasn't like.
it was an 8.7 for me.
I don't. Yeah, this is a 9.2 for me, and I think they got about 5 points based on the lyricism and just the timeliness of where we're at right now
Yeah.
in America. So
And around the world.
and around the world. Okay. On a completely random note, we talked about this during the fireside. We went to watch Hereditary, and that was supposed to be the scariest movie in the last 10 years or something like that. I wasn't really that scared.
It was just more disturbing, I thought.
Speaking of which, we did a review of Hail Satan. We're Christians, and we did a review of the documentary Hail Satan. It's about 3 hours long because we had a Satanist with us. So if you want to see that, keep letting us know. Eventually, we're going to publish the video. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Remember that movie that we went to see, Summer's Eve or something like that? We went to the movie theater.
Yes.
It was like it was like disturbing on that level.
Yeah.
Though I don't like those types of movies.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, gore.
Yeah.
Vin
Oh,
out.
sorry. Oh wait, Chris, thank you for picking this song and for sending it over to us.
Shout out to the big homie. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Go. Oh, Lord.
We're all gonna die.